And a treat, and a toot, and a treat, 2, 1. Welcome to the show.
Looking a little, it's like something's off with you, TJ. I can't quite put my finger on it, but something looks a little.
I'm looking better. I'm looking better than I used to look, you know?
Think so?
I've cleaned up. I've been dieting, been exercising. I'm looking hot. Looking
Lost
fucking
a lot of
gorgeous
weight.
over here. Yeah, looking.
I look
looking all that
good.
weight.
I'll just be honest. I look real good right now.
Paul, you sound tired. Paul, you tired, buddy?
What do you think, man?
You getting sleepy? You getting sleepy, Paul?
Paul wants a nappy nap, dude. He wants a chalky bob on a nap.
Paul needs to go to bed. Go to fucking bed, Paul. We got this.
I
We
mean,
got
this
this
is going to
fucking
be
show.
my, if I'm paying attention to this properly, it's going to be my, let's see, we did 6, 7, 8. This will be my 9th hour of streaming today.
That's right. You did a 2-hour stream this morning, right?
Yep. I did a ideology this morning and then 6 hours of onion nuggets and now an hour of this. And as you know, I'm sure everybody can tell I got a lot left in the tank, man. I'm gassed up.
I was full. The tank just got filled up.
That tank
that changed.
that
Brimming.
tank is full.
Brimming with energy today.
At least we did pretty well though. We cleaned up pretty good on that fucking onion nuggets, so that's good.
Yeah, we brought home the bacon for sure.
We brought the thunder, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Who made the big donation for Crowder? I don't know. I hope they got their money's worth because I legit didn't think we were gonna reach it, and I put it at that. I legitimately put it that it wasn't like reverse psychology.
It really wasn't just like, I mean, there was definitely some big, but it was just a lot of there was just a lot of people donating, really, to be honest with you. I mean, like some people did drop like $100 and stuff, and there was a really awesome donation.
This guy trying to steal my fucking light. Fucking shit, you piece of shit, Sky. I'll fucking show you.
I got whatever fucking light I want, TJ.
Go to a different fucking color because I don't want to be the same color as your ass.
Go ahead.
Oh no, that one Paul's color. Okay, I don't want to steal.
Yeah, and they're
Paul's
stealing
color.
Paul shit, dude. What the fuck?
Hey.
Fucking red.
Now you're stealing mine, TJ.
There you go. You ain't red, you pink.
Why is your lighting scheme so derivative of everybody else's, TJ?
I don't know. I just feel like people like this colored background shit nowadays. So I grabbed some lights.
Meh.
I got some yard lights, you know. Just got some of them colored yard lights. People do accent their houses, but I'm just using them in here. Scotty has bisexual lighting. That's true. And now he's fiddling with it.
Paul, speaking
Trying to
of
remember how to
tanks,
get to just like be like the red all over. Whatever.
What?
you think of America sending strikers and Bradleys to Ukraine, but not M1 Abrams? I think we should send every weapon ever conceived of to Ukraine, starting with like sharpened sticks and rocks, all the way up to like space age neutron bombs and shit. I think we should just literally make a mound of weapons right in the center of Ukraine and let the Ukrainian people line up and take whatever they want.
Now we're blue.
I've changed my mind, dude. War, good.
War, good.
You know what? Like the Fallout games, like war never changes. Like war
That
does.
could be your PragerU video. You know how they're like, I'm Paul Zigo, and I used to think war was bad, but
Man, I'm an idiot. But now
that
why?
was before I realized war is good.
You know, what about World War I and World War II? Especially World War II. I mean,
Yeah.
look, we had to defeat the Nazis and Hitler and stuff. I mean, if Paul was in charge, he'd be Neville Chamberlain. He'd be like, you know what? Maybe we just cut a deal.
Oh shit, man. That is definitely an argument that if
You've
somebody
never
ever
heard that
made
one.
that, yeah. What about World War II,
What
bro?
about the Nazis,
Holy
Paul?
fuck.
Yeah, have you thought about that, huh? Huh?
My whole position defeated.
Yeah, tap now. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm just gonna fucking hang my head in shame.
Maybe we could just reason with Hitler.
My favorite one about the Ukraine is people talking about how, like, and I don't get this at all. It's like you compare it to other like conflicts like Afghanistan or Iraq or whatever. They're just like, no, it's different. It's like it's really not different. I mean, I wish it was. I wish there was some difference in this war zone. And I think that's kind of interesting too. When people bring it up, is like, look at how bellicose Russia has been. I mean, they're basically threatening nuclear war, and it's like, this is a de-escalation. What we're doing, it's like, it's not a de-escalation. Russia said if they feel threatened as a nation, they might launch nukes. So I don't know.
I feel like sending
maybe
weapons,
a diplomatic solution might be better than nuclear war.
Sending weapons into a violent situation does not tend to de-escalate things. Just historically speaking, and common sensibly speaking, even just like, you know.
Have you considered this, Scotty? Iraqis and Afghanis, brown. Ukrainians, white.
I mean,
so there you go. You said it was the same, and it ain't the same, Scotty.
You know what? You got me there. Checkmate.
We can trust the white man with weapons. We can't trust them, you know, Iranians and so on.
I mean, at least they used a different excuse this time. You know, with Iraq and Afghanistan, it was, you know, we've got to help deliver freedom to those places.
I think
and with Ukraine, it's
we need a 4D chest these motherfuckers. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Point. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, with Ukraine, it's totally different. It's like we've got to deliver freedom to them. You know what I mean?
I live in a world of blue, though, so I don't even know what freedom is, to be honest with you. I wish I did, but I'm blue, so I don't really know. A fucking Smurf. I don't know, man. You just can't win. It's a shitty situation.
Dude, no, Scotty, that's where you're wrong. You can win. I figured out how to beat these fuckers. I figured out the argument Paul needs to make if he really wants to stop.
There is no argument.
There is.
Okay, what is it?
Listen, Scotty, I figured it out.
I'm sure you can convince people that are diametrically opposed to you.
Yeah, I am. Because what you got to do is you got to lean further into their argument. You got to be like, look, we got to stop sending all these weapons to Ukraine because what weapons are we going to have left to send to Taiwan when we're in that quagmire later? Come on, guys.
Or
got to
India,
save some weapons for later.
Yeah,
we can't fucking send them all to Ukraine. We got more fucking conflicts to get embroiled in, guys. Come on. Pace yourselves. You know, that's probably the best thing you could do.
I don't know, dude.
I do know.
I think the part that I find the most infuriating of all of it is like, we're three neckbeards. It's not like actual foreign policy is based on our whims or fancies. It's like it's not even what's happening.
I've got a chip on my shoulder about it, honestly, because I feel like that, and I felt like this for a long time. I feel like that when I have a political take on an emergent issue, the immediate response from most of the community is fucking retarded, fuck you, Paul Zigo, you piece of shit, blah, 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 blah. And then like 6 months to a year later, everybody's just kind of like quietly has my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you know, it's recently like I've started to really notice it about AOC. You know how much hell, like, I probably got more shit over saying that AOC was a sellout, shill, piece of fucking Democratic shit.
Yeah, the squad
trash.
is bullshit. Yeah, I mean, you've said that for years.
I've been saying that ever since the inception of calling them the squad. I've been saying, like, don't put too much faith in these people. They're all gonna sell out. And everybody's like, oh, fuck you, Paul. You're a different type of politician. You're just mad because blah, 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 blah. And then now it's just, now everybody's just kind of quietly, without any real, you know, public change in policy, they're just like, man, AOC turned out to be such a disappointment, man. Yeah. I'm just like, you know what? You go fuck yourselves.
Dude, I like her Twitter. You know, I mean, I can't be on Twitter anymore. I mean, I guess I can go there.
Why would you like her Twitter, though? Her Twitter is filled with a bunch of empty fucking promises and empty rhetoric that she never acts on.
Right.
Like, why would you like that?
Because she says stuff I agree with.
Yeah. Okay. So the dude that comes over to your house and dick whips you in the face until you fucking black and blue every day, like, says he's not going to do it. Says he's against that. It's like, what?
Well, I agree with him.
Why would you like that?
I agree with what he says. I don't agree with what he does. You know,
right? But it's different. Like, you're being pandered to.
Agree with it almost.
I've always kind of had the idea. I guess not always, but Penn Jillette pretty much brought it to my mindset.
The great philosopher Penn Jillette, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I used to listen to his radio show and shit, and he always said, like, I like hypocrites because if I don't agree with what they do, I'll agree with what they say. If I don't agree with what they say, I'll agree with what they do. And that's kind of the philosophy I take on it. I agree with what she says. I don't agree with what she does. And
what she says doesn't matter, and what she does. What she says has absolutely no effect on anything, any material reality, and what she does has direct and demonstrable effect on material reality.
But I still like it. I still like what she says. If she says something I agree with, I'm not gonna be like, I disagree now because it's being said by a person I don't agree with on
But
stuff.
it
or
tends to be
whatever.
purely performative.
That's the thing.
Well,
It's
it
just
is.
like,
I mean, but she's a
you have
politician.
such a low. That's an incredibly low
Right.
standard. All somebody's got to do is say something you agree with.
It's not
Never mind the fact that
demagoguery.
they have the
essentially.
power to actually pursue some of those things and never use it, refuse to use it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
but I still like what she said. So I
Well,
mean,
right, yeah. I mean, you agree with the idea. It's not so much you agree with her; you agree with the idea, and of course,
yeah, I
you
mean,
agree
like
with
if
the
she
idea.
says a thing I agree with, I agree
with.
with it. You know, but
I just
I mean,
think her saying those things is part of the problem because
Look, I
that's
mean-
how people get sold into giving people like AOC who promised to fight for the working class, promised to fight for unionized labor, promised to fight for all these things, get
I mean,
a fucking
she came
free
from
pass.
such a.
They're just like, oh, well, at least she says the right things on Twitter. It's like, fuck that, man. She's in the unique position, unlike every other monkey moron on Twitter, to actually do something.
I mean, I had hopes for her because she come from a pretty, I mean, she ousted a fucking like establishment Democrat. She came from a pretty, not a total working class background, but a pretty working class background.
I mean,
it's like-
I understand some of the hate, but some of it too is. Don't you?
You know,
have
and
to
I was like,
think-
so I kind of had some hope, and then like, she did a vote or two I didn't like, and I was kind of like, well, I mean, she's got to play the game a little bit, but then it's like she never takes a stand, even when she has nothing to lose, she still won't do it. So it's pretty obvious that, she's not going to fucking do any bold moves to
the
change
political
anything. So
machinery Washington breaks. All
I
these
pretty much
fucking
given up
people
the.
down.
I've pretty much given up the idea that she's actually going to be any sort of
How,
transformative.
how are you going to
person.
massive? Let me ask you a question. How are you going to massively reform a system that you're basically a part of? I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's. I mean, because you're directly working for that. So it's like she's going to dismantle and change all this stuff. She's going to abolish this and that. It's like,
You're
yeah,
like, I'm gonna, guys. Once I get hired on at McDonald's, I'm gonna change it from
promises-
within.
promises are fucking empty, dude. Talk is cheap.
Dude, I hate
people
to,
have been
I
promising
hate to,
shit- Oh, go ahead.
I hate to say it, but like one of the ways that she could demonstrably work against that system is being done right now by Lauren Blowfart or Lauren Blowfart and the fucking Andrew Gates wing of the Republican Party, where they're holding up the debt ceiling negotiations using the fact that there's a slim margin to demand that concessions be made on other things in order for them to clear the debts, and it's working.
It's
They haven't
purely
gotten everything
political,
they
though.
asked for, but they've actually gotten multiple concessions to try and sway their votes and shit. And this is what we were asking AOC to do. And when she was recently asked, hey, Lauren Blowfart and Neanderthal Barbie and Matt, the fucking weird pedo party guy Gates, they're doing exactly what we asked you to do, and it's actually working. They're getting concessions from the party. And her excuse was, you can't risk your reputation. As
Right.
if anybody that elected her gives a fuck what her reputation amongst the most disliked governmental body in America is.
Let's
Yeah,
pull it
because I mean, like the fact is,
100%.
she's a little too worried about the reputation among that crowd and not enough worried about it
Okay, well,
among the constituency. so.
Oh, the debt ceiling can't be raised.
But I mean, like
I mean, it's the
politicians,
Republican and Democratic Party could raise the debt ceiling right now. It's performative
but
shit.
politicians in America really aren't held to much account because even if they suck, they're pretty much going to get reelected. So
What is the reputation of a politician? Like, hold what to account? A bag of fucking shit in a suit? Yeah, you're gonna hold that to account? You know what it is. It stinks. It's bullshit. It's nothing but a fucking fabrication. Except this one guy who's really bad at it. This George Santos guy who's been caught in a million lies. He's the exception, not the fucking rule, right? It's like,
And
no,
that's
he's the obvious fucking guy.
what she's saying now in response to, hey, why didn't the squad do what this fucking bunch of regressive backwards Republicans is doing and force the vote? Her response is, well, we have to maintain a certain reputation with the party that you work in and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you know what? Go fuck
You gotta
yourself.
play ball. So basically she's a good little dog. The fucking DNC throws the bone and she goes and fetches it. But if she doesn't fetch the bone, like they're saying, oh man, it's like, well, she'd actually be an actual disruptor. She actually would have to have an interest in breaking up that system. So
that's what she ran as. And that's what everybody was yelling at me, telling me that she was. You're just mad because things don't happen right away. That was the one that got me the best. You're just mad because AOC got elected and didn't immediately wave a magic wand and fix everything. And now 2 years later, they're just like, man, this AOC bitch is fucked up. Bullshit, man. Just like, and there's no concession to me. Slowly but surely, too, the same thing's happening with this
Why would they-
Ukraine take that I have.
But Paul, those
Like-
people don't want. Why would they concede to you? They have no vested interest in conceding a point to you. That's why.
Right, because they
why
don't
would-
exist.
Well, why
They
would
were
it-
always just a disembodied fucking voice floating out there in the fucking void with no accountability. And so it's very, what bothers me is not that it happens. What bothers me is that so many people don't learn. It happens 3, 4, 5 fucking times. And I'm not even claiming to be some kind of Nostradamus. I'm just calling them like I see them. Tulsi Gabbard shows up and starts talking exactly like a Warhawk Republican. And I go, this bitch is a Republican. Oh, fuck you, Paul Diego. You're a piece of shit, motherfucker. You don't even know what you're talking about.
Tulsi being a great president. Dude, yeah, there was a squad of Tulsi people out there. Just
Yeah,
like,
I don't know what that
so
was about.
mean.
I made that video about her before she kind of like did the total heel turn, and I was just like, there's a lot of stuff about this bitch that's kind of sussy, guys. And then
Remember our crazy meth out drunk fucking audio technician? We asked him, like, we never really asked the guy much about his politics. Like, who would you vote for? He's like, I think Tulsi, man. Like Tulsi, she's like hot. And I'm like, okay, I get it.
Ass, man.
I get it, dude. They want to bang Tulsi so fucking bad.
yeah, I said that in my video too, and they were I think I said it in my video, but I don't know. I
If
said
they
it somewhere and they
deny
got
it,
real
deny it,
mad.
it's like,
So
you think she's ugly then? You wouldn't fuck her? Oh, no, it's not what I said, bro. It's like, so you'd fuck her. Yeah, there you go. You want to fuck her, dude.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, look, I'm not even opposed to that being a reason you vote for your politics. I'm really not. I'm not that judgmental. If that's a dumbass, shallow fucking reason you want, just like the politician, I mean, you're already a low information voter to begin with. So it's like, at least there's some standard that you could actually measurably understand, which is like, she gives me a hard on. Now, I don't think it's a good standard for why you'd vote for somebody or give a shit, or think that person's going to, be some catalyst for change. But at least I understand that.
And the same thing happened with Bernie,
I fell off
too.
her when she
Like,
made the Medicare for all who wanted argument. Yeah,
Oh, who want it?
Dude, I mean,
the same exact fucking shit happened with Bernie. When Bernie fucking dropped the strap at the last minute and bowed down and sucked Hillary Clinton's dick, I was like, wow, I like the way Bernie talks and stuff, but that was really shitty how he took all those grassroots donations and basically put them right in the Clinton coffer against the wishes of everybody that supported him. And then when he did it twice, I was like, you know what? Fuck this guy. This guy's just a fucking, like, as much as I like his policy and I might like him personally and look at him like he's my little political grandpa or something, when it comes to an effective politician at the national presidential level, he's actually the opposite. Because really all he's done is fire up the grassroots and then pull the plug at the last minute, and all that campaign money goes right in the fucking coffers of a bought and sold Republicrat.
I mean, you might not see too many people voicing that opinion, but I mean, I think if you look at like the sort of engagement Bernie had when he was running versus the engagement he has now, it's pretty obvious that plenty of people do feel that way. Because
they may not be as salty as I am about it, but I hear a lot of people espousing that position. Yeah, I like Bernie, but it really sucked how he just kind of like belly flopped twice and gave up.
especially when he gave up the second time, when it felt like he could have kept the fight going a lot longer. But it's like whatever.
The DNC has changed. They're changing the primary system, and now South Carolina, the state that gave Biden that huge advantage, is actually one of the first states that votes now. So the DNC kind of further just rigging it. It's like, oh, where can we get people to vote really party line? It's like, okay, we can get them here. So that is
like, Biden. Like when Biden was elected and everybody was having a fucking shit fit because Trump didn't win. I was just like, Biden's going to do the same shit Trump did. Biden's going to be just as bad, if not worse, on immigration, on this, on that. And sure enough, like every last one of those things has come true quietly. It's just the Ukraine shit too. When I first came out with that, everybody was fucking shouting at me. Now just like the worm has turned. Like maybe there are some people that are still fucking riding that train, but the vast majority of people that were supportive of Americans, the American arming of Ukraine, are now against it. So, I just don't know what to do. I feel like people change their minds after it's too late. They change their minds when their opinions no longer matter, because what was trying to be prevented has already gone through with their blessing. And then later on down the road, they get buyer's remorse and they go like, oh, man, maybe AOC does suck, man. It's like too fucking late, idiot.
So we're basically talking about manufacturing consent. That's basically almost what you're kind of getting into with that. It's like for a time, it's like, well, the war in Iraq was the same way. The war in Afghanistan the same way. History repeats itself. It's like, hey, the mainstream media goes out and makes this really harrowing this case to a lot of people in America. You get the same thing with influencers now. It's like, we got to do this. We got to fucking protect life. Russia invaded, and it's like, and I get all that stuff. And I'm not saying like, oh yeah, I'm glad Russia fucking invaded. I'm glad that there's another conflict in the world. Like, fuck no. But I'm
not saying that you like a lot of people are like, well, you just want Ukrainians to just lay down. I was like, no, Ukrainians have every right to fight if they want to. I just don't think it's our purview to arm them. I don't think it's necessarily our purview to arm them. I don't think it's our purview to ensure their victory.
And Russia would win. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, what the fuck? What are you going to do?
Well, not to mention, it's like, what is the ultimate goal with that? It's like, so like we want to oppose Russia. So do we want to enter war with Russia? Is that what you guys are saying?
And it's
no, it's like, well, you're putting us like, so you want to put like U.S.
so many of the weapons that we put in Afghanistan, just ended up in the hands of the Taliban in the long run. I mean, it's like we basically like we just de facto arm a lot of these countries, meaning to fucking, oh yeah, we're gonna change things here. It's like, not in the long run, you don't.
And guess who was there before us in Afghanistan? The Soviet Union. And guess who armed the Taliban again? The Soviets.
And I've said it before, and I'll say it again and again and again and again until everybody fucking eventually realizes the truth of it. Those weapons that we're dumping in in Ukraine.
Sorry.
Let's just say that everybody's fucking stated goal happens and Ukraine manages to boot the Russians out and send them a real message. Those weapons are still going to be in Ukraine in the hands of a destabilized military that is filled with right-wing militias, and those weapons will be used against the Ukrainian people. That's just it. Those weapons are going to concentrate in the hands of strongmen and military leaders, all with agendas and shit, and they will be used as tools of oppression against the very people they were sent there to quote unquote liberate. Mark my fucking words. Write it down, put a date on it, and come back and check in a couple of years when that's the fucking dominant narrative.
All I know is war-torn nations generally, everything is a utopia afterwards. That's usually how it goes. Like they stabilize immediately. Everyone holds hands and says, let's forget the past. Russia will just keep expanding.
I mean, why should I wring my hands?
Do you want NATO to be in a conflict? Do you want the United States to go to war with Russia?
Yeah, and why do we care so much about? Why do we care so much about Russian expansion and not United States and NATO expansion? Like these are demonstrably countries that are horrible to places that they militarily fucking invade. And yet, for some reason, one of them is the answer to the other. They're not part of the same fucking militaristic fascist fucking problem. You know what I mean? What, America hasn't fucking swung its big fucking dick all over this country and left big fucking mushroom prints all over every country that we want the oil of? Give me a break, bro. We're a vicious expansionist empire.
Yeah.
Looking down our nose at another vicious expansionist empire and going, we're the answer to them. It's like, what?
Dude, I remember when we first started all this shit, I lost like so many Twitter followers too. I lost all of them eventually when I got banned. But
yeah, you lost them all at this point.
But I mean, I lost like, I don't know, like 2,000 or something, because I basically just said the same thing
I'll tell you what, you're the only person that I know that's left Twitter or been forced off the platform, because everyone else I've talked to, it's like, I quit Twitter or whatever. My account got banned. It was like, what? I felt a lot better afterwards. Cheetah's the only exception to that, where it's like, no, I feel much worse. I feel
I definitely like it better not being on there constantly. I sometimes miss it, but mostly just like for informational reasons. But if I got it back, I'd probably get addicted again. But
almost certainly.
But I remember when this shit first started breaking out and all this Ukraine dick sucking started happening. I was just like, why? Like, I don't believe in nation states, and I fucking just feel like the quickest way to not have these kind of wars is for these countries to not exist. And I did the little Spider-Man meme where I just showed China. I had the three-way Spider-Man meme where one was China, one was Russia, one was America, and they were all pointing at each other. And it's like these countries all function in essentially the same way with very little tweaks and stuff. So it's like, why why are we acting like there's some great moral supremacy here? Is just because we're here, just because your ass happens to exist within this border, that means it's better than that one over there? That's fucking stupid.
That's it. That's the reason why.
It's like,
It's
well, we got to be for
it's
us.
just nationalism. It's nationalism packaged as a liberal concern for the rights of an oppressed people. And that's what got us into Afghanistan. That's what got us into Iraq. And that is what has got us as deep into Ukraine as we are. And I also love people that are just so naive that they don't believe that Americans are materially involved. Like, they just think we're just giving weapons to Ukraine. They think we have no military assets in Ukraine. And it's just not true. Our fucking military industrial complex all over Ukraine. Ukraine is lipping full of American advisors and American detachments and NATO detachments that are primarily American. Our boots are all over there. We haven't made an official declaration.
What about private military companies? You don't think they're all over this conflict?
Oh, of course they are, dude.
Because
companies.
because that's the degree of unaccountability too. That I mean, like, it's another thing. These war zones, like, not everything's like done by actual, like, I mean, like, yeah, there's obviously the Russian army and the Ukraine army, and obviously the nations supporting them. A lot of these people are just off the books. They just go kill a bunch of people. I mean, Russia's done it to Ukrainian citizens, slaughtered them in mass. They've slaughtered Russian soldiers in mass. I mean, like, I don't know. It's just, I just can't endorse a conflict. I mean, as much as I understand the arguments of like Russia expanding, but it's like, well, I mean,
look, I don't think anybody wants a nation like Russia to prosper. I feel like,
and be belligerent at its borders and just expansionary,
right. I mean, like, I don't want that
killing innocent people.
But
No,
it's like,
no one fucking wants that.
But like, I don't want us to do that. I don't want China to do that. I don't want any of these like super states or whatever the fuck you call them, the superpowers. To I don't want any of these superpowers doing that expansionist shit. If anything, I'd like to see.
But how do you really stop that?
I have no idea.
I mean, yeah.
If I had that solution, I'd be making more money than I'm making now.
That's all the Ukraine really is. It's like, Russia's like, we want to expand, and that's just basically the West pushing back and saying, we don't want you to expand.
Well, I know how you don't stop it, by being a useful bobblehead idiot every time your nation tries to sell one of these conflicts to the world. Going, yep, this time we're right. We're in the right here. We're saving people. It's like you don't save people by dumping fucking weapons on their country. That's not how it works. Our chance to save people in Ukraine was frittered away because our country does not have a functional diplomacy. We're not willing to sit across the table from Russia and actually talk Turkey. We've got this like hard-lined, never Russia fucking stance. That, you know what I mean? There was never even a fucking college try at diplomacy.
Sure. And really, like, the time for aggressive posturing, if you wanted to do that, was before the conflict started, not
way before.
During it.
I mean, I thought about that too. It's like, okay, you really want to stop Russia? Okay, and like in a way where they don't want to invade. If we really want to, if these nations of the world were serious about that, you'd have China, you'd have the United States, you'd have basically every other power against Russia, put military in there and say, okay, Russia, you want to invade? Go ahead. You want to start a war with everyone else around you in the fucking world? If that was a commitment, they'd be like, no, we don't want to do that. Russia would fucking blink in a heartbeat.
But see, everyone wants these half measure bullshit. So it's like, you're not going to see anything like that. But really, like,
nobody
honestly,
wants their donors to lose the money that they have tied up in Russian owned fucking corporations and media. You know what I mean? And so nobody's willing to save
money laundering. It's one of the biggest money laundering countries in the world. It's a giant money laundering scheme. I mean, Putin does it himself.
It's all half-assed posturing and shit, and there's no genuine good faith attempt at fucking diplomacy with that country.
Well, peace, you don't make as much money during peacetime.
Right.
No, it's like there's more money to be made by these conflict zones.
So it's just one of those things. Like, I haven't really even thought about it recently. I took a huge, because I just got sick of this shit.
Dude,
I got sick of being a fucking pariah for having a well-established and long-standing political viewpoint.
Dude, you know
what I mean?
After I put that, I spent like basically like a week saying that kind of shit on Twitter when this fucking conflict first started. And I got so fucking shellacked and shit. I was just like, you know what? If this opinion bothers you motherfuckers this much, I'm out. I've said my piece. fuck you.
Yeah,
And now I
you
say,
motherfuckers ain't learned. You're not gonna learn from me.
The same people that were so outraged before. I could say it now, and it's like they care less and less because, like you said, you know, the tide is changing, and people aren't fucking all passionate about it anymore.
I don't have to tell you something you've already bought, dude. If I've already sold you a war and we're already there, and the conflict's going on, then that's the sales pitch is already over. It's already succeeded. You don't need to keep selling that.
The Ukraine flags came out of bios a long time ago. The unironic hashtag Slava Ukraini shit stopped fucking months ago. And now there is this general malaise that hangs over the national opinion on Ukraine because the worm has turned. We were told that it was going to be quick and decisive. We would arm that the Russians had no chance, that their fucking invasion had. You remember how many times their invasion stalled before they were like literally knocking down the door of Kiev? Like, it's just one of those fucking things that, you know, people like, I guess they haven't lived through enough of this, you know, like they haven't seen the State Department machine and the NATO machine go into propaganda overdrive before. And, you know, they're just going to get duped cyclically until the end of fucking time. It's like unbelievable to me. But you know what? I can't be the person that's constantly arguing with people about it because there's no point. You know, I made my fucking position known on it, and, you know, it's on the record for anybody that wants to see. And like I said, dude, sooner rather than later, most of the people are going to fucking agree with me anyway. That's the way it always works.
I mean, the conflict is still going on, and the Ukraine flags have mostly vanished from profiles. And
it's not it's not a news story every day. It's not a leading news story every day. It's maybe, you know, there's an update once a week in the news complex about it, and it's just drips and drabs. But that shit is just as hot as it ever was. There's just as many people fucking dying and just as many fucking airstrikes and bullshit going on in Ukraine as there was at the beginning of this fucking shit. It's just, you know, people just don't care anymore. They've started to lose their taste for blood. And then eventually they just go like, man, why are we still sending billions of dollars of weapons over to Ukraine? They ain't had time to fucking win that war yet. Let's just cut them off. That's the way it'll be. Guaranteed. It's already that way amongst a lot of fucking people in this country that were pro intervention. And I'm just, you know, and I got tired of it. I got tired of making the argument, and I got tired of staying up to date on the developments and shit. It just serves me not at all.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? I will tell you, I do have a fucking giant chip on my shoulder about it because I really feel hard done by when I spend months getting fucking lambasted,
yeah,
called everything under the sun, just to have those very self-same people share my opinion in 6 months. It's maddening.
It's just, unfortunately, that's just kind of the name of the game when you're in this fucking business. Because, you know, I think we've all had these moments where it's like, I'm gonna say this thing, and then you get all kinds of shit, and then before you know it, like the position that was so controversial and so forbidden at one point is now just totally fine.
I'm wondering,
and the reverse will happen too. You know, sometimes you'll say something, everyone agrees, and then fucking 10 years later, it's like, remember when you said this? You're a monster. It's like, all right, you know, fuck you, fuck you, and fuck the lens of time. You know, shut up, quit being a fucking stupid little bitch. I hate that fucking garbage.
And, you know, just like always, as this Ukraine thing is going on and on and on with no end in sight, the military industrial complex here in America has already started gearing up for our next misadventure. Now it's less about Russia and Ukraine, and it's more about China and Taiwan.
I mean, you heard today, well, I mean, we heard Rudy Giuliani, it was a few years ago, but he was saying on the podium when he was a little drunk, you know, China's going to be our enemy for the next 40 years, right? And, you know, that's not just coming from his drunk ass. Like, he's heard people talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
He's been in those corridors of power. He's heard, yeah, our next big enemy, China. We're going to be
China. Yes. Eurasia is our enemy now.
Like I said in a show, a couple of Onion Nuggets ago, I believe that whole conflict has been mapped out and planned out for years. You know what I mean? And I think that's demonstrable. Like there are a bunch of military contingency plans that have been worked, all with an eye towards how are we going to, you know, combat China in a hot war. Here's what we'll do. Here's where we'll station our troops. Here's where we'll make preliminary strikes. Here's the line that we'll draw. Here's the maritime line that we'll have the Navy enforce. Here's the airstrike range that we'll be able to achieve with that line. All that shit is fucking worked out. And it may as well just be fucking like predestined at this point. Now, do I think that it absolutely has to happen? No. I think that our country and China could enter into really serious fucking talks. I think that United States could get tough in those talks and make some like, hey, you know, you put one fucking toe into Taiwan and you better kiss your little Chinese economic miracle goodbye, because we're fucking kicking your asses out of this country. And the rest of the world is going to come right along with us as well. You know what I mean? This type of tough talking diplomacy and shit, I way prefer tough words between politicians over the populace being bombed.
I mean, because the reason you use that kind of tough language in those stances initially during that phase is because you're trying to paint a picture of like, this could get fucking ugly. You really want to go down this fucking path, you know? And you know,
oh my God. That, I mean, you're talking about the mother of all conflicts you could have in the world right now. That would be it.
I mean, I just feel like
that'd be it.
I mean, it's just like humanity in general is just making a lot of fucking really bad decisions that are just going to ultimately lead to our destruction. So,
of course,
well, I mean, it depends on which segment of humanity you're talking about.
True.
If you're talking about the rich elites and the power brokers, they're making all the right decisions. They're fattening their pockets with every goddamn step of the way. They're ensuring that the complex continues to crank out fucking tons and tons of cash. They're ensuring that energy is, you know, the future of energy is locked down to their region and shit. They're doing just fine. It's the average fucking person. Not just here in the United States, in Ukraine, in Taiwan, in fucking Iraq, in Afghanistan. Yeah, those are the people that suffer. Dude, a lot the way that people celebrated Biden pulling out of Afghanistan, dude, that's a tragedy over there. I know it's hard to find news about it, but have you looked into what those people are living under as a direct result of America allowing the political situation over there to utterly collapse?
Oh, it's become completely repressive.
It's gone farther than it was before the invasion. People are worse off than they were before America invaded fucking 12 years ago. Do the math on that shit. What's there to celebrate? Nothing. Especially when the celebration is so short-lived because those resources are allocated to another country immediately. I remember when that happened, I was just like, you know, I would be excited about us pulling out of fucking Afghanistan if I didn't believe that all of that military material would be in another fucking country.
Yeah, well, we wrapped that one up. It almost just feels like a TV show. Like, well, Afghanistan's finally wrapping up that season. That was a big success. But hey, man, you know, Ukraine, I hear, gonna be the next season. Don't tell you didn't hear from me.
And there are people that are just historically illiterate. They'll go like, Afghanistan is nothing like Ukraine. And I'm like, it's actually exactly like Ukraine. Like, we dumped a bunch of weapons on Afghanistan to fight a Russian incursion into Afghani territory in order to provide a fucking geopolitical counterpoint.
Hey, it turned out pretty. That started. Hey, but it turned out pretty well. Remember?
And it
that's right. Yeah. The people of Afghanistan are just fucking like, you know, they're doing great.
And there was no blowback. That's the important thing.
No blowback, and definitely no, you know, tragedy because their country was just flooded with military weapons and no accountability.
No,
you know, those were never used against the populace there, and never will be. You know, thank goodness. The Taliban didn't end up with a bunch of brand new top of the line American military hardware to use.
Yeah, like didn't they end up with like F-16s and shit?
Yeah. Before we went over there, they had Kalashnikovs and like 1975 RPG launchers and shit,
tanks and shit. Yeah.
We left them a fucking standing army's worth of modern military hardware, and now everybody that lives in that fucking country is oppressed because of it. See, that's why I hold the position that I do. And that's why I'm so vehement when I argue with people about it, is because those are the people that I consider the most. The people that have to live under these regimes, the people that have to live under this constant grinding, never-ending war for profit, their lives mean more to me than anything else. Any stated political goal, any geopolitical goal the United States may have over its rivals, that shit, you could wad it up and throw it in the fucking toilet and flush it for all I give a fuck. America's aspirations in this world, I am far beyond believing the flag waving, red, white, and blue bleeding rhetoric that comes out of this country for being we're a force for freedom and good in the world. Give me a fucking break, dude. I'm not 8 years old. This is not G.I. Joe that I'm watching. I've just lived through enough of it to know that that's horse shit. And if that's horse shit, you can kiss goodbye the aspirations of this fucking country. I do not think the world would be better off under the hegemony of America than it is under any of these other fucking vicious, bloodthirsty, warmongering empires. And if you're asking me to vote for the good guy amongst that group, there isn't one. Sorry. Nope. I just can't fucking do it, man. I can't deal any. I'm too fucking old. And it just breaks honestly, it breaks my heart to see young people wrapped up in the same fucking bullshit that my generation was wrapped up in, getting suckered in the same rope a dope.
Well, I mean, I think that I think part of the thing that you could tell people too that might, I don't know, maybe open them a little bit more is just like, look, a lot of what I'm telling you right now is not just me being like, you know, I'm just smarter and I know what's going on and I see through the bullshit. It should be like, look, I see through a lot of the bullshit because I've been down this rope a dope path. I've bought this bullshit hook, line, and sinker, and I've seen where it fucking leads. Where you are now, I have been, and this is what happened to me. This is what happened in this situation. So, like, you know, wake up because in
you're just bitter.
In 25 years, I am bitter, but in 25 years to 30 years, maybe you're gonna find yourself in the same bitter position and be like, God damn it, why won't these kids listen? You know,
it was like that during the first Persian Gulf War, dude. I know it better than most people do, dude. I was an early abandoner of those wars. Was I suckered in immediately in the wake of fucking 9/11? Sure. Did I believe the initial reports that every bad guy that had ever wanted to do harm to anybody in the United States or anywhere else was all of a sudden living in a shitty little fucking mountainous, country bordering Russia? Yeah. Did I buy it for long? No. And I was called every goddamn thing under the book, dude. There was real fucking vitriol at that time. I was a terrorist sympathizer. I was a Saddam Hussein supporter, an Osama bin Laden lover, a fucking just an Al Qaeda fucking stooge, and just everything, you know. And people keep telling me, "Oh, this is different. This is different." Then why is the response the same? Because now I'm a fucking tanky. I'm a Putin cocksucker. I'm a Russian lover. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh my God, can you guys not see that when it comes to empires, I don't have a horse in this fucking race? I could give a fuck. Oh, yeah, it just drives me nuts.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, if you're against Russia, if you're against China, like you have to be for the same reasons against America, unless you're just going to make the argument of like complete selfishness, like, well, I'm here, so it's better. I mean, that's basically like the most narcissistic position a human being could possibly have. The same rules don't apply to me because I'm here.
Though. It's the truest one. The same thing the person in China. I mean, like maybe they see through their government's bullshit, but you know what they're going to do? Well, I'm Chinese. So at the end of the day, if I had to bet on a horse to win the race, I want to be on the horse I'm riding, not the one I'm not riding.
I mean, they sell you, it's sold the exact same way. It's sold as American exceptionalism. It's like, look, yeah. Am I saying America's perfect? No. But when the chips are down and look, if you have to choose one bloodthirsty, warmongering, capitalistic empire to run the whole goddamn fucking world, dude, you're lesser of fucking three evils, bro. Lesser of three evils, the United States. You got to admit, dude, we warmonger a little less hard than Russia does, you know? It's like, no, I actually don't think we do. I think we have invaded and caused more military death than Russia has in the last 20 years. And I bet that's defensible.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that.
And the same goes for China. In fact, I'd be willing to boldly say if you added up the death toll caused directly by China and Russia, it probably wouldn't approach the United States death toll. So you're not going to sell me on we're the velvet glove dictators and these are the iron fist dictators. Like, no, we're the iron fucking fist.
If anything, China's the velvet glove dictator.
Yeah, they're like the economic dictator. They're
the ones that they're fucking the way that they've kind of like put their tendrils in Africa has been, oh yeah, we're gonna help you. We're here to help. We love you.
Yeah, look, Africa, I'll make you a little small loan for $50 billion. You'll never be able to repay. Oh, I own all your infrastructure now. Too bad.
Yeah, America, you know, people will say that shit with a straight face, like America's special. Well, like as the numbers that America's lagging behind in social progress, behind pretty much every other developed nation in the world in a number of key areas, including some of the most important, like health and welfare. America's like sucking hind tit amongst developed nations, but for some reason, we're the good guys. We take less fucking care of our citizenry than almost anywhere else. We have no system of socialized medicine, no single payer system, no guarantee against medical bankruptcy. You get fucking cancer in America, kiss your goddamn whole life and your whole life savings goodbye right down the... Yep. That doesn't happen most other places on this planet. But why are we the good guys? Why is it happening here in good guy land? And when you bring this type of shit up, people go like, oh, it's whataboutism. As if you shouldn't run your fucking expectations for another country through your expectations through your own. As if it's somehow like verboten when you're talking about a geopolitical situation, ever bring up what America does geopolitically. Then it's just, whataboutism? Oh yeah, Russia's bad, but what about America? Yeah. Yeah, that's a standing question that I've still yet to have fucking answered in a serious way by anybody. What about America?
Answer is just like, okay, it's not really what about America. It's just like, hey, America too. I'm not saying like ignore the bad that Russia does because we do bad, but I'm also saying, but you're just making the opposite. You're just saying like ignore the bad that we do because Russia bad. Like maybe both are bad.
Where do I have
like? Well, we're doing good.
Have more of a voice.
Remember that's the justification. We're doing the good. They're doing the bad. That's what.
Like where do I have more of a voice? Where does, like, I don't think there's a much meaninglessness at all to my complaints. But the truth of the matter is, I'm an American citizen, not a Chinese citizen, not a Russian citizen. In my mind, it behooves me to hold America to an even higher standard than I would hold those other fucking countries, and to be even more fucking ruthless and fastidious in my scrutiny of America. Because I have a voice that still ostensibly on some level matters here as a citizen of this fucking country. You know, what do you want me to do? Like just stand on the West Coast with a bullhorn and shout at China to fucking knock it off? You know what I mean? I have a voice here.
Enough, China. Stop it, you guys. Enough of this.
And as long as America is exporting genocide and mass murder and crony capitalism to every fucking pocket and corner of this globe and wiping its ass with everything, you can bet your goddamn ass when how another country's bad comes up, I'm going to fucking bring up America every goddamn time. Every time. Because I don't feel like anybody that lives in this country has a fucking thing to say about how another country acts. Not with the last 60, 70 years this country's had. You better look at your own fucking backyard. Clean up your own backyard before it overruns your front yard. Quit acting like America is a force for fucking peacekeeping and good doing in this world. Grow the fuck up. Change out of the Oshkosh bagosh and get fucking real.
That's why Paul's gonna be the first one to go to the re-education camp.
I think Paul should run for president of the United States of America.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What a joke.
Paul, yeah, of course, end this warfare, crony capitalism. And it's like, you know, come on, any platform Paul would have would not even be able to fit into the mainstream discussion at all. He'd be viewed as like a wacko candidate.
For sure.
If you had any coverage at all, I'd be like, this is an insane liberal who just look. Here's a video of Paul saying he wants to give people money, he wants to give bums money. This UBI is nothing more than a bunch of handouts to the poor who want to sit around and smoke crack all day.
Exclusive video tonight of leftist firebrand Paul Zigo having his ass spanked by a dominatrix on a strange game show in 2015. I'm fucked, bro.
Dude, that would, you know,
I'm fucked.
No, Paul, you're forgetting which country you live in. You just be like, that's not me.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
That was Paul's ego. My name is Paul Malingo or the fuck bullshit.
Oh, Bazingo. Nice to meet you.
I'm Paul Zabruder.
Also, Bruder. Whoa.
That's right. Paul Zabruder, Scotty. You got a problem with that?
Dude, you guys want to talk about ghosts real quick?
Yeah, ghosts.
So I tuned into a TJ stream a couple days ago, and I happened to tune in right as somebody was asking a question about me. I don't know what the topic was, but they said, doesn't Paul believe in ghosts? And TJ was pretty charitable, I think. He was like, I think the rational part of Paul's brain doesn't, but I think there's a part of Paul that's maybe outside of that rational zone that does.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think that's pretty fair, but I feel like it's defensible rationally. Like, I feel like my position is not as out there as a lot of people would think when it comes to ghosts. Okay, so here it is. Do I believe that ghosts exist as portrayed in popular culture? You know, like specters of recently dead, or some remnant of the soul of a recently dead person, haunting a fucking thing and appearing at night and shit, rattling chains and shit. No. Do I think that there's possibly some kind of phenomenon that exists within the natural world that we just haven't discovered or don't fully understand, that could lead people to have these experiences that these experiences that they interpret as supernatural ghost experiences, but are really just misunderstood natural phenomena? Yes. And the reason I say that is because, you know, a lot of it like loops back to like quantum physics, the little drips and drabs that quantum physics has figured out, like the observer effect. Like one of the questions you asked when you were talking about that is like, why are ghosts dressed? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, did their clothes die? And it's just like, what if people are seeing them dressed because of the observer effect? Like maybe their expectations for how that person would be dressed has an effect on how they're perceived. Just like, you know, the photon experiment or whatever. And what if, you know, what people perceive as ghost experiences or whatever the fuck are just some kind of natural bleed over from the multiverse? Maybe multiverses every once in a while have this kind of perceptual bleed where something that has happened at a very, like the ultra microscopically similar time and way in a multiverse can bleed through and be perceived by certain people based on their expectation. Because like the way I feel about ghosts or any fucking widely made claim is this: there are some people that say that they've seen ghosts that are crazy and they just hallucinated. There are some people that say that they've seen ghosts that are lying. They just want to be special or they want to make money on it. And that leaves a group of probably a really large group of people, honestly, that have had these experiences and outright believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to completely dismiss it as hokum and hooey without even allotting for some misunderstood part of physical reality that we just don't understand, that I don't get.
Well, you'd have to believe ghosts are natural to reality then. If you're positing ghosts are supernatural, then that's outside of the realm of just even the natural world. So I think most people, if they had to make the argument, but I think the problem with a lot of people with ghosts is it's like you said, that it's like a very pop culture centric thing, and it's like when you see things in pop culture like that, a lot of people believe in ghosts because either they know a bunch of people that do, so it's a popular belief, which that obviously influences those around you. Oh, everyone believes in ghosts. Okay, so I believe in ghosts because, well, I've just heard enough people say, well, I've had a crazy experience. But we know personal experience claims are not very good. They're not very good evidence because you can make any claim with personal experience. I personally experienced a dragon fly into the room 3 minutes ago. Oh, well, you guys didn't see it. Well, the dragon, we can go down that whole route. So I think with ghosts, I mean, yeah, could there be a possibility of some unexplained phenomenon? For sure. I mean, it could be a psychological thing, which I think in a lot of times is probably more of a likely explanation for a lot of the people. But I don't think you can dismiss everything you could see in reality necessarily. But you'd have again, it's like if you're making extraordinary claims, you have to have extraordinary evidence to prove that. And absent extraordinary evidence, I think you have to dismiss ghosts on that basis. Now, I'm not saying
sure. Like I said, when it comes to the popular conception of ghosts, I pretty much dismiss that idea. I don't see, any kind of compelling move in science that would lead us to believe that there's anything like a soul.
That's some phenomenon. Yeah, sure. I mean, that's
right.
A possibility. I thought about
phenomenon that exists outside of the physical model of reality that scientists portray. Because, like, make no bones about it, quantum physics has already broken some of what we consider to be the hard and fast rules of physical reality.
Yeah,
Like
quantum entanglement, one of them.
quantum
Yeah.
entanglement, right, breaks the speed limit. It allows the instantaneous transfer of information over infinite distance. And that's supposed to not be possible. You know, it breaks the speed of light. The speed of light is supposed to be the ultimate physical barrier in the universe. And yet, at the quantum level, nothing really works that way. They don't seem, you know, the particles don't seem to abide by the same set of rules. And what I'm saying is our knowledge of that part of reality is nascent.
Yeah.
Right. And there's huge, you know, I'm not trying to fill the gaps in our knowledge with hokum and hooey, but I'm also saying that, like, I personally allot for there being some reasonable explanation for this seemingly common human experience that has been around for way longer than people give it credit for. I was talking in my ideology today about how, like, you know, 6,000 BC or something is our first example of human death ritual, the cult of the skull, where people would bury their dead loved ones, dig them up after their body was desiccated, take their skulls out, decorate the skulls, and then put them back, you know what I mean, into the grave. And so this belief that something about a human life persists after their body has died is a long-standing and abiding belief in human beings. And, you know, maybe there's something to it that just can't be or hasn't been explained yet.
Sure. I mean, you never really know. I mean,
I think that anybody who claims to, like, know answers about this kind of thing is probably mistaken. But I think that, you know,
I think if you're asserting something like clear, like I know ghosts exist, or I know this exists.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's no God, but I mean, I can't even say for sure, like, oh yeah, I know there's no God.
No, of course, no, that'd be disingenuous. You can't 100%, like, you know.
See,
yes, I know there's no God.
When it comes to God, though, I feel a lot more comfortable just going like, yeah, do I know for sure that there's no God? But as presented, I'm willing to live assuming that there is no God.
The Christian God is pretty far-fetched, so.
Yeah,
and most of the gods posited by modern and ancient religions are ludicrous and ridiculous, and you know, I don't think, like I said, I don't think that you know, people leaving
with sufficient evidence, so there's no point.
Right.
Like, why would you? It's like, you know, and that's really with any claim. It's like, you know, it's just a basic tenet of just, like, you know, logical reasoning. It's like, if you claim something to me, you have to have something to back that up, and, like, you know, Christianity doesn't provide evidence, so it's like, well, that's just easy to dismiss. Now, the shared experience of ghosts, I mean, like, there's a number of things, like, that I've read about, like, you know, like, obviously people used to live primarily outdoors, so people would honestly, a lot of times it's been posited, like, they could maybe see things, or like they would see a projection of, like, a human or something, as a, you know, basically a way of, like, a survival mechanism, because, you know, it's like, obviously the world is a very dark place, there's a lot of danger, especially, you know, and, you know, basically, you know, we're talking 10,000, you know, 100,000 years ago. So there's probably might have been some need to imagine those dangers, whether they existed or not.
Sure.
And maybe potentially see things if they were there or not, just as a way to keep you on your toes. Like, hey, did I see something? I think almost everyone's had that experience, even in modern times. Like, you look outside at night, it's like, am I looking at something? Is someone there? You know, like, you know, you're because is someone watching me, or, like, you know, their eyes are up on me. Like, I think there's different factors into, like, just like our minds, just to kind of keep us alive and safe. It's like, if you have that kind of sort of uneasiness feeling, that, and you might think that you see something, that it almost might, you know, play on that, you know, like the sort of like this fear that drives you to stay alive and to be cognizant of your own safety.
I believe that there can be like I said, I believe that there might be some interactions in the physical world that are maybe explainable in a long enough time frame by science.
Maybe
that would lead to certain things. Because, like, I've never seen a ghost, but I have gone to places that just felt wrong. Like, have you ever walked into a place and you just immediately, for no reason really discernible to you, felt like I'm in danger?
Well, there are
here?
certain there's certain tones that make people uncomfortable and stuff. Like, and buildings can actually resonate at certain frequencies, and that can be disquieting.
You can.
I'm not saying that's the explanation every time, but there's, like, all kinds of little strange natural phenomena that might act upon people in weird ways.
Sure.
I think there's also visual things that could do that. But, you know, I have seen things that I thought were unusual. You know, like when I was a kid, I saw a hand come out of this creepy old chapel, and it had red, long fingernails, and and
Oh, I mean, you said that for years. You know, we lived on
yeah. I mean,
Penn State.
I saw it vividly as hell. Now,
Well,
I mean,
like it was like this old chapel in the woods that like had basically just been abandoned years ago. And like we would drive by and like we actually had been in it as kids too. So it was like it had this kind of like obviously as a kid, that's kind of a creepy quality. You know, you imagine it's like a place you would see like on like a cartoon where it's like a monster lives or something. And like I remember driving by that, like and like TJ was like just like adamant. He saw us like, no, I saw a hand. And then like, I remember mom was like, you didn't see anything. No, TJ, you didn't see, there wasn't a hand in there, you know, like, and like, I didn't see it. Like I was looking at the church too, and I did not see it. That's the thing that I always like, because to this day, I don't know if you saw the hand. I mean, I don't think you did. I don't think there was just a hand that appeared.
I mean, I saw it. Whether or not it was actually there is disputable.
Well, you also saw a guy that came to the edge of your bed every night too. Like
not every night. No.
I mean, maybe you were nodding off and you thought you saw it.
Well, no, I mean, I saw it. The question is whether it was a hallucination, which I think it probably was.
It probably was, yeah.
I mean, our brain is so powerful. Who's to say that what we're experiencing now isn't a hallucination? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like just the edges of our consciousness are so plastic that it's hard for me to dismiss, like I said, what is a pretty fucking commonly reported human experience as completely and utterly impossible. Other than just in the imaginations and overdeveloped fear responses of our brains. You know what I mean? I think that it's possible that there's something else going on that we just can't explain yet. And maybe it's not measurable physically by, tools, because maybe it's based on the observer, like the observer effect, like photons adhere to a pattern that's expected in the observer. Maybe these things appear to people based on their expectations. If your expectation can manifest a change in subatomic particles, why couldn't it manifest something else? You know what I mean? Like this whole idea that our thoughts have no power in the real world unless acted upon is now that's just not true. According to science.
I guess you could say it's possible, but I guess you have to look at the probability that it's that's the case. I mean, as far as ghosts, I mean, those things, like some of those phenomena, yeah, obviously those. I mean,
I hope ghosts aren't real. I already have a hard time sleeping. Why would ghosts frighten you more? Even if ghosts were like proven real tomorrow, I don't really understand why you'd be scared of them.
Yeah, if they were proven, let's say,
like, I mean, I've heard plenty of stories about people killing each other. I've heard plenty of stories about all kinds of stuff.
You live in the same world. I mean, if you were aware of the ghost,
I've never heard of a story where like a ghost kills somebody. You know what I mean?
Why would a ghost want to kill somebody?
I mean, I guess I might have heard a story or two here and there, but like that's
I've
like
read
way
ghost
less
stories,
common.
yeah, but like the ghost, I mean, whatever. I mean, honestly, if they killed you, wouldn't killing you give you power to actually go after the ghost that killed you though? Wouldn't the ghost want you to be alive?
I mean, how many thousands of people just disappear every year worldwide? Like, how do we know those people weren't killed by some kind of entity that we can't perceive? You know what I mean?
Vampires.
Who knows?
Could be.
I'm not saying it's probable. I'm saying it's possible.
I feel like when it comes, if there's a thing that I have, I don't really believe in ghosts, but I think there might be something going on that could be explained. But I mean, I've heard different explanations about different things, but the main thing, the thing I kind of want to believe in, I guess, is like UFOs, and I'm hoping Demi Lovato can get to the bottom of it because I have confidence.
Your faith is well placed, I would say.
Well, that one I will go out on a limb and say I 110% believe and will stand behind the idea that aliens have quote unquote visited the Earth. Now, what I mean by visited may not mean what you think it like they may not mean that they've shown up here in their ships and taken that may not be true. But I believe that the Earth has been closely observed by another species. And I base that just on the absolutely necessary amount of civilization that would exist in the universe, given our, knowledge of how many Earth-like planets exist.
Unless that idea that they've all just destroyed themselves once they reach a certain technological pinnacle.
Well, then that also puts us in a very strange situation because you're claiming that we're so special that we're the last one.
I don't think we're the last one. It might just be that like whenever a civilization reaches a certain point, it's destroyed.
Right? But I mean, who knows at that point?
But
who knows if that point comes before or after interstellar travel? You know what I mean? Like,
right? That's true.
You would not know the answer to that. Yeah. So
Guys, we built a bomb that can destroy the whole universe. We're invincible now. No one will fuck with us. Oh no, the Russians are fucking with us. God damn it, Russians.
launch the bomb.
Launch the universe killer. Take that, Russia. Oh shit. Ah!
Yep.
Anyway, I think that's a grease trap, right?
That's a great trap. I'm gonna go.
That's a great trap. Well, I know we're all tired, so
Yep. Have a good weekend. We'll see you guys Monday with more onion nuggety goodness.
Bye.
bye y'all. And broadcast.